This is a very, very interesting things to be here. But before I start my session, I'd like to ask you one simple question. If tomorrow your company is going viral, right? What would come to your mind first? Data, fact, or perception? Before you answer that, I'd like to show you one video, very simple one. Hopefully, this comes to your mind very deeply.
Today, public opinion is no longer determined by who is right or wrong, but by who can shape perception more quickly, more powerfully, and more convincingly. In the digital space, facts are not always defeated by hoaxes. They are often overshadowed by stories that are simpler, more emotional, and easier to share. A single video clip or headline can influence the perceptions of millions long before any clarification is issued. In this environment, communication is no longer just about delivering a message, but about how that message is interpreted. When perceptions are repeated consistently, they evolve into reputation, and whether or not that reputation reflects the truth, its impact is real. The question then, today, within your company, who truly determines the perception? You or someone else?
All right. Before you answer that, I'll just want to share my experience. I was TV commercial director for nearly 27 years. I started 94, 95. I was involved in the RCTI station ID. And then I was in the agency, the PR agency, a branding consultant, and so on. And then I declared myself as a perception engineer guy. So before I answer that question, let's see the next facts. Nowadays, today, the brand can have a best product, best technology, biggest budget ever, most advanced TV. But the question is that going to succeed? Or they may still lose? Not because the product is bad, but because the perception loses. Because nowadays, perception is everything. It doesn't matter how good you are, as long as the perception is so bad. It's just one staff doing bad things, it becomes disaster for your company. So the biggest competitor is not another brand to us. It's another perception. Why? Easy. Let's look at the 10 years battle between Aqua and Le Mineral. The never-ending battle, right? I don't know whether there's a non-guy here, but that's true. That's the fact. The competitor is pushing so hard, pushing the market leader so hard. In 10 years, they're trying to build the perception that natural water is no longer the best thing, but water with taste is the best thing, right? So it's just a matter of perception. So that's because of the media, because media no longer controls reality, so that people buy perception before they buy product. What's another example? This Royal Pop. Are you guys into this thing? The AP collaboration with the Swatch? Some may say that the Royal Pop watch is so plasticky, so tacky, so cheap, but still, people buy it. But still, the queues are so bad, right? I was about to buy the Royal Pop until I really see the real one. Oh no, it's too plasticky, right? So That's we call the power of perception building. So talking about perception, you have to talk about the media, how the media shifted, right? Shifting towards what you call the post-truth era. What is the post-truth era? Let's look at this video. Oh, sorry.
If we look at the evolution of the media, there was a time when communication was one-directional. Television spoke, radio broadcasted, newspapers published, the public received. Then came the two-way era. Social media, forums, messaging platforms. The public didn't just receive, they responded. Today, we are entering something far more complex. A hyper-digital environment where AI, algorithms, and echo chambers operate simultaneously. Information is no longer simply distributed. It is filtered, ranked, amplified, suppressed. Algorithms no longer show us what is important. They show us what keeps us engaged. And engagement often favors outrage over accuracy. This is where post-truth thrives. People no longer ask, "Is this accurate?" They ask, "Does this validate what I already believe?" Truth becomes secondary. Belonging becomes primary. Context disappears. Emotion accelerates. Viral replaces verified. We have seen moments where a statement made under pressure, not a crime, not a policy, not an institutional decision, turned into a national crisis within hours because context was stripped away. In a post-truth environment, speed defeats reflection, volume defeats nuance, emotion defeats evidence. Trust erodes before clarification arrives. And when trust erodes, reputation follows. And when reputation weakens, business performance suffers. When these bad things happen, can it really be saved by advertising campaigns from an ad agency? Can public trust truly be restored through press releases from a PR agency alone? Then who becomes the orchestrator of the narrative? In a post-truth era, managing trust is no longer about issuing statements after a crisis. It is about designing the architecture of perception before the crisis begins.
Tadi Bu Amalia mentioned about the market getting tougher. To me, it's not just tougher. I think tougher and angrier, right? So everybody gets so scary in the social media nowadays, right? So, but that's the fact of the algorithm, the fact of the echo chamber. Once you are into something, and then the next minute, the same thing will come to your timeline, right? That's what we call echo chamber. So let's take a look at the behavior shift that now the media has created. The media used to be distributed as known as information distribution. But now, today, algorithm distribute the emotion. Not only information, but emotions. Brand used to control the message. Now, public controls the interpretation. That's why we know no viral, no justice. No viral, no notice. No viral, no exist. Right? Everyone is trying to get the viral. But the question is this viral thing will convert to sales or not? Not necessarily. Right? The third one, advertising build awareness. I have directed more than 1,000 TV commercials. 1,000. And I got bored. I quit 2018. People ask me why. I said like, no challenge anymore. Boring. So since then, 2018, I focused on this perception building. Visibility was power. Relatability is power now. Campaign-centric now is conversation-centric. There was no buzzer, the power of buzzer, no. But nowadays, every company is trying to get their own buzzer, or we call it cyber troops, right? So that's the media shift. That's the thing that we have to aware. So to me, the 2025, we got 12 clients, mostly crisis handling, from personal branding to corporate branding. National, the MBG. It was hilarious, but that's the fact. The question is, if there was a crisis, can TV commercial answer that? I don't think so. So the era is definitely shifting into another dimension now. So this is the shifting, and so the real battlefield is a mislead framing, right? A very scary framing. One single visual can change you into the disaster. Platform algorithmic. Commons. Nowadays, everybody's looking at the commons. In Indonesian, they call it nyampah, the commons. So that's why in our office, first thing we do is we compile data. We do data scraping, and mostly the tonality is driven by the commons. So 95% of the tonality, the perception, is actually coming from the commons. Of course, we're cleansing all the bots and stuff, but 95% coming from the commons, whether it's positive, negative, or neutral. And then the community discussion. We never thought about having a commons engineering, but nowadays, commons engineering is prudent. Once you don't manage the commons, all the negative and the whole thousands of commons becoming negative. It's better that you put the positive common in the beginning, then the whole thing just go. At least that we can manage all the negative commons later on. So, what is brands' big problems? To us, number one, most of the brands now focus only on awareness or impression. They comes with numbers, right? Okay, we have reached this one. The impression is this. We have these contents seen by few millions, tens of millions, right? But then the thing is, being seen doesn't necessarily mean that being understood. Number two, they mostly focus on news and post monitoring. Disregard the sentiment. This is what I mentioned earlier just now. The sentiment there is actually coming from the commons. The sentiment is a strategic foundation for decision making. So all this, many clients came to us asking about their thought that was their problem. To us, no. I have to see the data first. I have to do a data scraping. And then after data scraping, I can tell where is your pain point. So data won't lie. The number three is virality is seen as success. Like I mentioned before, virality doesn't necessarily convert into belief or sales. So it's not easy, but it's not that hard too. So this is one of the example. This used to be our client. Anybody heard about Rudy Masud, the governor of Kalimantan Timur? I think he's very popular nowadays. The wife also the Noni Belanda, right? So we helped him winning the competition. We started from 25%, and the rival, which is the incumbent, is 65%. We only had 100 days, all right? So we had 100 days to change, to shift the perception, and we got him win in 100 days, all right? So the well-engineered perception can turn you into a winner. It's not impossible. It is possible. It's proven. 100 days, he became a governor. And then the project finished. Then what happened? A poorly managed perception can destroy you into few days. You see the sentiment? Talk about political dynasty, protests, about the renovation house, about the car and others. All the red colors determines how bad the perception that he managed. Demo ricu. So he called me like a few days ago, and then whether I could help him or not. So let's see lah. I mean, like, the difference is when we help him to win, it was, we started from zero. But if we help him now, we started from like minus 20, 30. So that's not easy at all. So a good perception builds slowly, but the bad perception destroys quickly. Right? It doesn't have to be your company's fault. Still remember the story about the tumbler, the blue tumbler kereta api Indonesia? Yeah, that's siapa nama anaknya itu? It becomes viral, but nothing to do with the company. But company was viral. Hopefully, nothing happened with the sales and performance. So there's another way, a way that reads reality before building narrative. We call it perception intelligence, which is the ability to read emotion behind numbers, how the interpretation behind conversation, then transform it into living strategy, that strategy that people trust and believe you. We call it perception engineering. What is perception engineering?
Perception engineering is a method that combines art and technology to shape public perception through usage of large-scale data. Then, data, strategy, and distribution are strategically orchestrated to deliver the intended communication outcomes. What is included in perception engineering? Perception engineering encompasses a comprehensive range of capabilities, including all of these components are developed through a foundation of creative and strategic thinking. Perception engineering is built on three core pillars: strategy, content, and distribution, supported by large-scale data scraping, grounded in 30 years of experience, and enhanced by creative thinking powered by AI-based machine learning. The strategy formulation process, supported by machine learning, includes data analytics, swatting, positioning, tagline, programming, along with distribution through both conventional and new media, supported by public relations activation with large-scale distribution to hundreds of city-based digital media platforms. Perception engineering is applied across various domains, including orchestrated communication, data acquisition and analytic, government relation, crisis handling. Perception engineering is not merely a concept. It is a structured, disciplined approach that combines technology, data, and creativity to shape how messages are perceived and understood. Every step is deliberately designed and executed to create the intended perception.
Our office was the one who created Gemoy, the Prabowo Gibran, the cartoony things. So that one was actually a big shift. The brief was so simple. We want something different. We don't want Pak Prabowo to be perceived as a scary, galak military thing. So we had to shift the positioning into something relatable with the target audience. So we came up with the story, with the positioning of a laughable grandpa. So that's the positioning, a laughable grandpa. And all the joget gemoy and stuff. So basically, that's the perception engineering. So we believe that the future belongs not to the loudest one, not to the biggest one, not to the best ones, but to the one that people will have a belief, will have a trust. I think that's it for today. Hopefully we can get the tanya jawab soon. Thank you very much, everybody. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.